Oh, guess who's back? Welcome back, everybody. One known as CR, like in Creed. This whole stream's gonna be about it. But first things first, I'm gonna pour myself a coffee. Nice aroma. There we go. So hopefully everyone's doing well. Like I said, I'm making coffee. Like I said, this stream's gonna be about creating. But so to start off with. So, everyone, hope you're all doing well, like I said. Just first sip here. Oh yeah, that's good. That's good. So while I wait for everyone to join me, remember creating is one of those things that we just do. We just do one way or another. One way or another. Just it's always has existed as far as we know. No matter what it is. From the simple act of making coffee. Oh yes. This is a nice cup of Joe right here for me. Oh yeah. There we go. Very nice. Oh. Well, just awesome. So while I wait for some people, I am actually going to create some stuff. Or at least do some stuff while I'm doing this at the same time. It's like I said, creating sometimes is just even even opening up space so you can actually do said project. Sometimes you actually have to make a room. You have to squeeze it in into a space that you can use, where you can actually like put things together. Quick something in the background here. Hello there. Hopefully you're doing well. Give me one moment here. And all right, let's start getting this show on the road here. 5 minutes in already. I have to get some coffee already, like I said, among some other things. This is actually probably going to piggyback on my stream live stream later. Well, there's two parts to this channel. This is going to be the creative part of it. What up? I see you in there. Yeah, back. Yeah. Having some coffee here, like I said, doing a bunch of things because, like I said, in creating, sometimes you just gotta move forward in it and do something in that space that you're doing, wherever it is. Could be anything really. You think about it. When you go do these things, I see you come for a court, Sammy. I see you in there. When you go do these things, remember that when you're trying to find this answer to something and trying to find that moment, sometimes it just happens. So sometimes you just gotta go into it. If you know what I mean, just do it. Right? Because you never know. Like you can always, you know, we're kind of lucky that. Ah, damn it! Oops, that wasn't supposed to happen. By the way, sorry, headphone users. I kind of, my bad, my bad. But sometimes you have to find that answer out there. You have to do these things, whatever it is, right? And remember that, yeah, you can look online, base your things on something, but sometimes you just have to just do it. Be like, hmm, this and this. I took this from this original spot and I moved it over here and it just changed everything. You know, that kind of moment where you like, oh, or ooh, or mmm, or mmm, maybe like in food or something like that. Oh, okay. So yeah, you gotta find those moments, but the only way is to actually do it, whatever it is, right? Because sometimes when I'm doing stuff, sometimes I'm just like, I'll just come into the space, whatever it is, right? And just imagine it right now in front of you, wherever you are right now, doing whatever you're doing, holding whatever you're holding, and whatever you're wearing, right? Remembering that sometimes creating is all about building upon everything. You will always notice it because that's how society is. We build upon everything from the very small to very big to the very old to the very new, right? You know, and you nowadays we're like just creating content, right? So I mean, this counts too. But a lot of this creation came from the past. And always remembering what have we created? Is it good? Is it bad? It could be good, bad. It could be all this. So what I'm saying is, if I'm saying anything at all, is that it just goes on. It just basically goes on. Creation part actually just keeps going on. But the caveat is you actually have to find that spot where it is, be there at the right time to be like, pick up that moment and be like, and go with it. So, to explain that, and I'll use some metaphors here. I see your picture. You know, imagine someone going through and something happens and they're trying to help them out. They feel like, okay, let's see certain things make connections. maybe from previous like knowledge, for example, like that. So they have that sense of history behind it. You'd be like, oh, that, right? So where knowledge comes in, right? Or your perception of how you're seeing it. And so sometimes for me, it's just like, okay, there's a logical approach, right? And there's sometimes that way outside the box or leaping to the next box type of thinking where you're just like, well, we tried the conventional approach. Maybe we need something a little bit more something. I see. Hi, I see you. And just oh, speak of which, I almost screwed up. Yeah, that outside the box type of thinking. All right, and sometimes it's hard to. It can be hard sometimes because you know, and it's like I said, it's a perception thing, right? Like when you see someone figure out something or show you something, and you enjoy the idea or whatever, right? And you say something like, "Oh, why didn't I think about that?" Right? Or think of it or whatever. It's a perception thing at times, right? I mean, they just showed you it. They kind of maybe know about it themselves, but they're showing you it, and you're like, oh, because you're saying it in a different way. For example, you're like, oh, you know, remember that. Remember that. Like I said, creativity is all about building upon things because that's how it has been. When you build upon things, well, you can have more options and kind of diversify it out. For example, understanding a lot of things is just trial and error. Sometimes it's trial and error, but sometimes it's just like just doing it. Sometimes the ideas out there are so out there. It's just like, it's just like you're trying to perceive it in your own mind and understand it. And it's like, you know, so that perception thing, like I said. And sometimes, just like how I'm sorting out some seeds right here, sometimes you're trying to sort out through the randomness of it, trying to find that idea, that little metaphor of a needle in a haystack. You're just trying to finding it. Well, just like that, I'm actually trying to notice if I notice any imperfections in the seed or fragments or something else. While I look at this, and it reminds me, it's just like, you know, why do we do these things like creating? It's because we're trying to make something easier or solve something or help people out or for multiple reasons. I mean, like right now, I'm just even thinking about something and just maybe I need a better streamer. Maybe that'd be nice. Yeah, I think I got it. Doesn't seem like it's only, yeah. Can't wait to show you guys that. That'll be a video in itself. Oh, you're here with free tea and crumpets? Oh, okay, okay, okay. Just adding it in, right? Adding it in, right? Hopefully you're doing well. Since you took. So yeah, like I said, sometimes just creating is just like looking for that. You're just always trying to find that one little thing, right? And you pull it out or you search for it or whatever, and it just makes everything so much better. And you're always looking for that. I can reach it. You just have to do some work in there, help the creation process along, and maybe find an answer and be like, I put this here, whatever it is. Okay, okay, okay. Sorry, I'm away from the splitter now. Alright. Like I said, I'm sorting some stuff, and I gotta make sure it's ready to go, and then create some space for it. And sometimes in like creating, sometimes you want to, you know, try different things, and kind of add to the knowledge bank. Because, like I said, creating is built on this kind of foundation of like previous things most of the time. Well, actually, probably all the time, to be really honest. Because everything's in built or created, and it has its own characteristics and all this other stuff. Especially if it's physical items and some other things. You just want to find it, keep going, doing things. Like I said, I don't know what happened. Right? Sometimes the answers come from actually just seeing it in action or seeing an example of it. You know, where it's like, oh, okay, all right, this is doable. It's reproducible, for example. And sometimes in creating, you want to kind of, how do I say this? Maybe put it into like a little ball, a little curved ball. Yeah, see, with a CR in it. And put that idea in there. And maybe just like a soap bubble, for example. Bring another one, bring it closer. Maybe it'll join together and make a bigger one. So think about that kind of metaphor right there when you see bubbles coming together. You see that coming together. When you see that, it's like, ooh, little bubbles coming together and they make bigger bubbles. Yeah, you see it when you're like washing dishes or whatever, or something, or even washing your hands, right? You would see kind of these bubbles coming together or whatever, right? So imagine some of those ideas that come together like that and just like something to think about. Hey, Herbert, see you in there, man. How are you doing? So, go for out some biscuits on the table, you know, offering something to your guests if they're here. For example, if you're at visiting people or whatever, right? It's a form of creativity because you're like, okay, I'm gonna set an idea out there. Maybe eh, try my cooking, my new biscuit, my new creation, whatever it is, right? A new piece of bread that you just made, ooh, or slice, something like that. So it's always nice when I see people kind of sharing that, you know, something that they made and they're sharing it with you. And you kind of, you know what I mean? Like they grew it, for example, or even animated, for example, right? I mean, I have made things for people before, you know, kind of for lack of a better term, one of a kind kind of those kind of things, right? It's custom made, just using, but I was using what I had at that time. Hi, Iron Fireworks. How are you doing? Nice to see you. And you know, perception, right? Like I said about perception of like giving something out and this idea, right? I was just like, okay, and I put a couple things together, and next thing you know, I created some, in this case for me, memory. You know, because they open up this gift. Here it is, something I made, and you know, and they hung it up, as they say, right? Put it on the wall, or you know, something along the lines of that. You know, whatever it is, right? From painting, it could be a pillow, could be this, could be that, right? You know, something like that. And it just reminded me, I'm like, sometimes creating it isn't always about certain little things, but just that moment and the moments to come with it. And, you know, conversation piece, right? You know, it makes a nice conversation piece, for example, or it's just like, oh, where'd you get this? I don't know, it's just a mirror, for example, and you're just like, oh, because it's all fancy, because it's all edged in, and it's got your name on it or whatever. You're just like, where'd you get that? Whatever, right? Oh yeah, give it just to me. It's like something like that. Oh, I see Uncle Alexander. How are you doing? Welcome back. I mean, well, safe travels back, I should say. Just to see y'all. You know, like I said, creating's part of us. Like one way or another, it is part of us, and always exploring what it might offer. You know, for the most part, at times, people need to create when they need a solution. And like I've said a few times, if you can't buy something, you'll either have to find it or create it yourself. So it's something to keep in mind too. Because one of the things that's very useful to keep in mind about while creating something is going through the process of it and just going through the steps as they say and just exploring it in depth a little bit more, and you realize these little things that you pick up that really help it obviously go along, but it makes you kind of see a different perception on it. Or I'm trying not to use the eureka kind of thing all the time, but it's kind of like that. It's just like for what it is, right? Because you're gonna remember that it's a perception thing, like I said, so different areas, different people, different places, different things within the area. You're trying to, know, do something about it, for what it is, right? It's just because a lot of times it always comes back to like wanting to problem solve and just do something about it, right? Because sometimes we're creating something to problem solve, or I mean, to solve a problem, I should say, and whatever it is, you just got to look for some of these answers or potential answers, I should say. Oh, you do list and diagrams, Iron Powers? Okay, I see it. I see. Hi, Gray. I see you in there. I see you. Welcome, welcome. Appreciate you coming back. Let's see. Where we are. Wait, wait. Really? Nice. Uh, see, see, maybe that reminds me of something now. And just like even as creating, right? Sometimes you, to understand it, sometimes you gotta make a prototype or kind of like an example, just something to start with. For example, kind of more tangible and in your hand, or something you can perceive. Like I said, right? Kind of reminds me of that right now. Because if you think about it, right, you can kind of visualize it if you have it in, right, in this kind of small scale. And obviously, certain little things once you put it into that scale that you want it in is different. But there's certain little things you can try out and be like and test out. I mean, here's an example. Here's an example of something I've done before, and it kind of makes sense if you think about it, right? But I was rearranging the space before, and just it has a fixed space, right? With things inside that have a fixed kind of dimensions. And what I did was to help me visualize it and kind of save some energy. Is I measured everything, then I cut some pieces of paper with a scale and all that stuff, right? And I was just repositioning things and just like and stuff like that, and just putting things together. Like if you were really a library, you could probably even do it with origami. Start paper folding and just make something kind of if you wanted to, and just be like and visualize it a little bit more, and something that you could be like, maybe you would see something because you start seeing something else and seeing that connection, and it's like, oh, you know, and of course you're gonna scale it after, but still, that's a good point. Let's see where we at. Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Okay. No. See ya. Let's see. What did that say? What did I ever say? Okay. 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 I see. Well, you know what? Sometimes, you know, a few items kind of help when you're creating something. Like I said, sometimes you're trying to create a solution or at least something to help you out, and hopefully it'll work. And sometimes a little bit of gear does help. Also, some knowledge, magnifies that. Okay. Well, this does remind me, I do have a short and a reel soon that I will kind of illustrate this point a little bit more. I guess you will notice it. You will notice it. You will notice it. You will notice it. I think I have it like later this week. No, actually, I think it's the week after. After still technically. What's up, GP? I see you in there. I see you in there. I meant this one. I meant this one. I misclicked. I misclicked. I misclicked. Uh, yeah. Virtual fist bump. Oh yeah. See, I got distracted and I forgot about my coffee. You know. So yeah, like I've been saying, just go out there and create. All right. Because sometimes when you see something different or interesting or anything like that, right? Sometimes, like I said, when you go see something interesting or something like that, you realize that it's like, you know, those moments when you're like, oh, it'd be really cool if if you did this and that, and you start taking a couple of steps forward on it, right? It's just like, oh, right, maybe I can, you start wanting to either learn about it or do something about it, or make something with it, or create something with it, or something like that. So, for example, here, what can I say? Oh, okay. Here's a good example. It's all related into history. It's also fire is one of those things that created all part of technology a long time ago that helped us out, and all this other stuff for right now. And if there's, you do certain things like a layout, boot, you get certain size and all that stuff, set it up, and creating it and building upon that little things because you've seen it before, or that knowledge has been passed down to you one way or another, or you learned it from someone else, or you've seen it from someone else, or something like that. You're like, okay. But with that said, sometimes you see it upside down and you realize, oh, you know what? That could actually work too, apparently. You know, so opening your mind up to like a slightly different way of thinking, you know, because and the reason why I'm using it as an example is because actually there's multiple ways of setting it up. Just depending where you are, and some methods of our ways are like much better, but then other ones are depending on what you want. So you have these options to go by. Oops, where am I here? Hi, Storms. I see you, Barry. Hi, Howie. How are you doing? Yeah, yeah. See. And I always run to the store because sometimes, like I said, if you can't buy it, most likely you'll have to either find it or create something like it, or something an analog, or create a part, whatever it is, right? With what you have. And sometimes you're thinking this is like, I mean, sometimes it can be really tricky. Really, I mean, for the sometimes you just simply don't have the resource in front of you to do it, or enough of it to do it. Unfortunately, sometimes there is still some limitations in creating something because or else you probably would have done it already because you had enough material. It's kind of hard to make you're making something that's like just you have to squeeze in to get into versus there's a lot more room. I can actually open up. Let's see, when you scroll back, all right, you scroll down to the bottom here. Yeah, I see all. You know, I was actually watching a few things earlier about about creating. I was just like, this kind of makes sense. You know, I mean, I'm paraphrasing a little from what they've said, but I mean, it really does make sense how it's really part of us. Well, because it's what we do. I mean, in the spaces that we're in the things that we have, the resources that went into said whatever it is in our spaces right now, right? where it'd be more high tech, you know, staples like food and water, you know, brought it all together. I mean, we just, you know what I mean? It's just part of us. It's always been part of us to do put these things together because we needed said water, so we put things together to help us get clean water, food, you know. We created things in the past to grind, you know, grind things, to do all this stuff, so we can actually have this now, for example. You know, from as simple as going out there and gathering your seeds for what you want on a small scale to something more on a bigger scale or industrial scale of things. You know, and sometimes there's similar challenges on the scale. You know, if you're sorting out seeds, well, you still have to sort out seeds on a grand scale too. It just, you know, the only probably difference is that you don't start utilizing things, some things in the past that have helped people or people what people have created in the past to help them do the task. You know, it's like, oh, no, someone back then probably figured it out that, oh, you know, if we make something, we can actually get a better result out of it, or put something together, we can get a better result out of it. And it just keeps growing, and people see that and be like, oh, and it's built upon that. You know, it's almost like if you're sewing something and you're just like, you're connecting these pieces together and just like kind of reinforcing that idea. If that makes any sense, you know. You know, and some of these things that you take for granted, right? You know, we all take a step forward. We all know, okay, the floor is solid. For example, we take that for granted, but we realize that's been built upon knowing that, okay, there's wood underneath, there's the floor, blah, 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 stuff like that. Well, I see your peace journey. Let's see. Oh, actually, I should highlight the right one. All right, here we go. Come on. There we go. So I'll probably go till the top hour, actually. I'll probably, yeah, give or take, top hour. So, while I keep doing what I'm to be doing here for later, just to remind everyone, I will be live later today. You know, hours from now from our stream, which will be on the back half of what the channel is, because I'm kind of talking about the creative part a lot more. I haven't noticed a lot more. So stay tuned for that. You know, set your timers, your clocks, alarms, whatever you want. You know, write it down. You know, however you want to create a mental note on it. You know, keep that in mind for later, because they'll come back. A lot of things they'll come back to this stream. What this stream was about the ideas and all that stuff, and the creation part, and how things are put together, and how things come together. Because, you know, sometimes we gotta appreciate that kind of stuff. Okay, okay, okay. I see you. Yeah, I see your comments, both of you. Yeah. Yeah, keep doing your thing, right? You have reasons for doing it, you know. In terms of creating, is just like, let's say you have a plant that you have inside right now because it's cooler outside because it's autumn, and maybe it's already fallen below freezing at night, and you brought them inside, and you just want to keep that little thing going, the plant going, because it's still creating its heart, um, it's still creating its fruit, for example, and you still want to keep it going because it's still going, you know, it's still doing its thing. Speak of which, I probably should water it. I should give it a little bit of water. No, actually, no, I think it's still good actually. But stuff like that, you want to keep it going as long as possible. Keep, you know, it's just like I look outside, it's kind of overcast today, a bunch of leaves on the ground, but look how Mother Nature kind of creates something and then reuses it. Now, leaves are a perfect example of that. The plants make it, or a majority of the plants make it to, different degrees, size, and all that stuff. And it's adding, you know, and it can be cycled around, and that creation process just keeps going back around. Allows for something else to be developed, added to it, adding to that foundation again, a metaphoric foundation. We'll live in a home that probably has a foundation or something like that, but, you know, building on that and remembering for later for my art stream. When you don't have that foundation, metaphoric or literal foundation, yeah, you kind of realize, yeah, that part is important. Like to say, well, you brought your herbs inside. Oh yes, yes. Ah, the chat jumped on me. All right, there we go. Yeah, you know, like I said, Tuck, I did the same. I had to do the same thing because the weather was changing here. It's getting a little bit cooler. I had to bring this a few of them in, a couple of containers worth of stuff for now. Hopefully, I'll build on that. Ooh, seeds. More seeds. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. More seeds. Yeah, more seeds. So many seeds I have to sort through here. So many seeds I have to sort through here. Actually, it's just I'm just getting out the little odds and ends out. That's actually what I've been doing because I haven't. It hasn't been that long since I started. Let's see where I'm at. Oh yeah, at the bottom of my chat. Yeah, I mean, like I said, as I'm doing stuff, or as all you are doing stuff, right? Remembering, I don't care how many potential things out there have been created. I mean, look how what went into said creation. Like, really in depth as much as you want. Realize, as simple as chair, something that maybe many of us are sitting on right now, or something along the lines of that, right? And how it's been fine tuned for like how many years? Well, on and on, probably a long, long time, right? I know. It could be well, it's probably as could be as simple as a bed could be, if you could consider that, right? And that's pretty old. Definitely, bed is definitely one of the oldest things, right? And also, you take it for granted when you don't have one, and you forget about, oh yeah, and you go, like I said, sorry, I just lost that train. I just lost that tangent in there. Anyways, I totally lost that tangent. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, you're creating something too peace journey, right? You're maybe some peace of mind, for example, right? You're doing something forward as much as possible. You see something that's like, hey, I can create something to help me out in this maybe situation, something that naturally happens anyways, you know, and you're just kind of helping it along. And and a lot of times that kind of stuff has just been based on previous history, you know. And there's modern day analogs or things that are along the lines of that you have in the modern age, you know, from a little, you know, maybe a wooden cup all the way to like ceramic, metal, migration of that technology, you know, realizing it. Because these things are created or have been created, you know. Sometimes take, I, yeah, we forget about when we don't have them, you know, and then, and that's why, you remember to be ready. And just like being ready, hopefully everyone will be ready later on because that'll be the back half of this time frame that I'm doing this live stream and that other one. So keep that in mind, right? If you haven't heard that one, or you're over there, come and see that one, or whatever, right? Because you'll see this kind of circle. I'll just say, I'll just say circle. I'll just say, let's see. Oh, okay. You guys, okay, I see, I see. You're trying to get it to where I see. I think that's how I. Yeah, yeah. Oh, I see. Some hook and loops. Yeah, some Velcro and stuff. Oh, yeah, yeah. I mean, I've used like Velcro to like help me do stuff before. You know, I mean, you can go. I mean, that could be very similar. Like when you look at something like that, right? You see the hook and loops stick together, right? It obviously makes a sound, right? But it's the hook and loops that kind of hold it together, right? I mean, there's like other ways of approaching, or I shouldn't say approach, other ways of actually doing something very similar or a similar thing, right? You can tie it too, for example, right? And this is, like I said, just a different way of approaching it, and it from its original source, right? But because of it slightly different, it has its own characteristics. So, hook and loops, you could wind it around or, and stuff like that. It's highly reusable, right? It can hold some weight, some tension and stuff like that. So it has its own characteristics. It can be, you know, used with one hand. someone came up with that, right? Someone came up. Someone just, I don't, I probably should look into it. I mean, but just thinking of someone had to really think outside the box. To, oh yeah, maybe they just saw something. They probably did, right? They probably saw something in the natural world or something like that. And it's just like, or something like that. It's like, oh, maybe around their environment and just poof, next thing they know, they're making protests. And next thing you know, now we got this. And next thing you know, everyone knows what it is. It's common to know what it is, right? Most people know what it is. Yeah. What's up, Blake? I see you. You're doing, man. Appreciate you dropping by. Yeah. So I'll probably go, like I said, till the top of the hour. I'll swing in some more time later, and like I said, I will be live later. It should be one enjoyable live stream. I'm trying to. I'm not. I'm trying to actually keep a lot of that stuff for that stream, instead on this stream. But it'll segue into that stream, and that's why I'm actually doing it like this time around, because I think actually I'll do it like this again. Because like I said, I mean, creating it is part of us. So, and we all do it different ways, physically, obviously. I'm just saying, right? But with stuff too, with gear, with ideas and all that stuff, we kind of create something, or and we perceive it as how we see the world. And some things, like I said, a lot of things out there we perceive in the same way, right? Okay, this is a window, it's solid. you know, what really fools us in like magic, for example, we don't notice that, and it's just like, oh, I thought that was real. That perception, right? That's how we can get fooled by like magic, for example, right? It's just magic's just something you don't realize until you actually know what it's made of or how it's done. It's like, oh, and someone actually created that kind of idea, you know, kind of like, how do I say, taking like a 180 on it, on that idea of creating something. Hey, Vanessa's here. I see you, Glenn. How are you doing? How are you both doing? Nice to see Vanessa, like you said. Yeah, let's see. Oh, I see. Okay, peace journey. Okay, okay. Let's see. Okay. So, like I said, I will be sliding out at the top of the hour. A couple more, well, like 7 minutes, five, whatever. 'Cause I gotta make sure I'm nice and ready for the next stream because, well, it'll be about readiness and the preparedness part of what I do here on the channel. But there is one thing. There is one thing I haven't mentioned. I guess, technically. Why did we create at all? You know? To be honest, I think it's because we can. We're able to. You know? We have that, metaphor gift, right? You know? It's just like a performer or whatever, you think, oh, they got a gift for it, for singing or whatever, right? You know? And not always everyone has it, but some people don't have it, but we all have that kind of wanting that gift to actually maybe create something, use what we have, you know, and get something done. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Oh, here we go. Remember, everyone, I see the CR words very clearly. See, like I said, I can perceive it really easily now. I notice it. I just notice them all the time now. Yeah, you're just sharing what you could be doing anyways. Yeah, exactly, right? It's just like, and just seeing, you know, like I said, everyone has a perception of creating or the world, pretty much. But when people open up their eye, I shouldn't say open up their eyes, but open up their mind to an idea, sometimes, like I said, it can lead to something positive too. Even maybe even something more, and maybe it'll help down the road. I think that is the time for me now. Yes, great to share, form connections. Yes, all right. That's one of the reasons you can create, or why you do something like canning for. All right. Why do you harvest these seeds for? You know, why are you going through that creation process of like making something, right? Hopefully, for most people, they'll have a reason, right? You know, maybe it's food, something like that. You're growing something inside, creating something, right? Because you're putting this together. This, you're going through the creation process of, you know, growing some tomato inside, you know, so you're helping it along because you're like, well, it's creating something for me and I can utilize this. I'll keep it going as long as I can, uh, help the creation process out and hopefully get something out of it too, right? Because basically you're bringing this from the outside to the inside, back inside again, and thinking outside the box is like, okay, let's flip it over and see what we have. All right, I think that is time. Yep, that is definitely that time. Now it is. Let's like quickly see here. Okay, you're still working on that, hey, Vanessa? Yeah. You know what, Vanessa? That actually reminds me of something else I want to try out too. Might be interesting, actually. It reminds me of this project that I need to create. It reminds me of something, right? Mm. Ooh, ooh, cool, cool. Let's see. All right. Anyways, everyone, go out there, right, and create something awesome, right? You know, I'll tell you straight up. Sometimes the creation process doesn't lead to anything. However, you never know until you go through it. You might find out, oh, this is possible, or I could do this. I can do this. I'm able to do this right now. Whatever it is, and you have the resources for it. You realize, like I said, you can create something in a matter of time. Just gotta go through that process, the creation process. All right. Can't always jump to the finish line. Can't always race like that rabbit. Sometimes you gotta take it a little bit slowly, but methodically. Anyways, everyone. Take care. Join me later on my next stream, the PREP stream. I'll catch you all next time. Go do something awesome out there. Yeah. All right. See ya.